More evidence today and over the last few days that there really is never a dull moment in the Miami Dolphins offseason. Oh, it is. It is Monday episode of Donno Daily here on the 5 Reasons Sports Network. I am Alex Donno. I'm taking you for the next, 40, 45, 55 minutes, whatever it is, guys. We appreciate you for making us part of your Monday. It is an off-season edition, kind of a sad off-season edition because I wish the Heat were playing finals basketball this week. They are not. I wish the Florida Panthers were playing conference finals hockey. They are not. I wish Hurricanes baseball was still playing baseball. They're not. They were eliminated. So, man, what we have to look forward to is everything going on with the local football teams, but the Miami Heat as well, because Pat Riley did speak today. We are going to get to Pat Riley's comments. We're going to talk a lot of Dolphins, though, throughout this episode. So, you're in here right now, whether you're watching us live or you're watching us later, do us a solid, smash that like button, hit the thumbs up button, and make sure you subscribe to 5 Reasons Sports on YouTube. So, okay, with everything coming out, and some of it's Dolphins related, from Deshaun Watson's lawyer, Rusty Hardin, who is becoming a media darling now. This guy is all over all the Houston media outlets. He's talking about happy endings, which is like weird because this is, like a middle-aged, older gentleman talking about how it's not necessarily illegal to get a happy ending massage. It's like, bro, you're not the one that I want to hear about that from. But among other things, he did talk about the Miami Dolphins' pursuit of Deshaun Watson, which was a very real pursuit right up until it wasn't. And like anything else, before we come up with the topic list for an episode, before I come up with title and the YouTube thumbnail for an episode, I think about things long and hard. What do people really want to talk about? What do they really want to hear about? And today is one of those days where it's a little bit more difficult because, like anything Tua related, anything Deshaun Watson related, especially since he's not coming here, and I'm actually relieved he's not coming here at this point. But anything that relates to topics about the Dolphins quarterback, some of you really want to chatter about some of this stuff. Some of you really don't. And I know technically, as an organization and as Dolphins fans, we have had closure over the Deshaun Watson debate because we know he's not coming here. Cleveland acquired him. But then at the same time, when new details, or at least now confirmed details, about just how hard the Dolphins were going after him come out, I think it's worth a conversation. So here's something that Rusty Hardin, the lawyer for Deshaun Watson, said. Now, you guys remember going back up until the trade deadline last year, there were some stories that came out. A lot of this was coming out from Pro Football Talk. Dolphin fans despise Mike Florio to the point where a lot of times people just assume everything he says about the Dolphins is wrong. I don't think that's the case. I mean, like him or hate him, I hate the way he cooks his steak, but like him or hate him, the guy does know some things. Does he bat 1,000? No. Does he get some reliable reporting in some places? Yes. And Florio had been strongly reporting that Dolphins ownership really wanted Watson to Miami to be a thing. And then after Brian Flores was fired, then a lot of the reports have been coming out from, people close to the Dolphins organization that it was really all Flo, that Flo wanted him. And look, now that Flo's gone, they don't even want Deshaun Watson. So they're pinning it all on Brian Flores, even though Florio and others had said, now ownership was really trying to make this happen. People are like, no. Ownership didn't. It was all Flo. Guys, it wasn't all Flo, okay? And here's what Rusty Hardin said to Sports Radio 610 in Houston. He was talking about the time before the criminal stuff was settled. Deshaun Watson still has civil cases, right? 24 lawsuits now. But criminally, he's not going to be charged. He's not going to do prison time, anything like that. So before the criminal stuff was settled, before the grand juries, 2 of them decided not to indict. Miami apparently was the only team at that point really pursuing Watson. Here's what Hardin said: Miami was an outlier. He said, Ross says, the owner of Miami says, I'll take my chances on what happens criminally, but I have to have all 22 cases. There were 22 at that time, not 24. I have to have all 22 cases settled and a non-disclosure agreement, or I won't do it. That's according to Watson's lawyer. The coach at Miami, Flo, at that time, was somebody that Deshaun liked. He liked the team. He was just chomping at the bit to get back to football and get all this garbage behind him. And so we're told, I want to go to Miami. That's what Watson said. Hardin says that there were agreements in place, but there was a holdup that caused the trade to be nixed. He says, we were told that 20 of them would being settled, but 2 would not, he said. Ross said, if I don't have all 22 signed up in a confidentiality agreement, we won't do it, because I don't want everybody talking about this during the season and after the season. So then, since they didn't get all 22 settlements, they didn't end up getting any because 2 were not willing to settle at that time. The trade ended up not happening. And then Rusty Hardin said, the only reason we were settling at the time was that was the only way he could get to Miami, he said. So if Miami wasn't going to take him and do the trade unless there's all 22 and all 22 didn't want to settle, then we didn't want to settle with anybody because we didn't want to be there to begin with. So that coming right from the lawyer's mouth, now corroborates some of the reporting that, hey, like ownership wise, the Dolphins were really behind this. Now, I'm sure depending on who you talk to, there's going to be differences in the language as to, because some people have tried to make this out to be something like, well, Dolphins ownership was like directly trying to get these women to settle. I don't think that's a fair thing to say. I think that they were just inquiring, like, hey, where are you with settlements? Are all 22 going to settle? We really need that to be the case if we want to make this happen. I think for anyone to assume that, like, which I don't think is a fair thing to assume whatsoever, for anyone to assume that, like, the Dolphins were directly trying to pressure anyone to settle, I don't think we have any evidence of that, but they did want there to be all 22 settlements in place before they were willing to make a deal. So that does go to show you that it wasn't just Flores. Like, were they doing this all on behalf of Flores? I mean, there has to be some willingness from the ownership and the GM to get the guy as well. You're not going to let the coach do all of that on his own. But then the other part of it is, listen, I'm very, very relieved that trade didn't happen, because Pandora's box was like only slightly open with Watson at that time. I don't know where we are as to like how far it's going to open, but it's looking even. And I know the criminal stuff, it's not going to get charged, but still more lawsuits now than we had back then, back in November. 2 more lawsuits now than back then. Nothing has been settled at this time, and doesn't look like there's light at the end of the tunnel anytime soon. And Watson, according to some reports, might be suspended for the entire 2022 season. So no matter what you think of Tua, no matter what you think of the current Dolphins quarterback situation, we should all agree that we're better off having not made that deal. All right, we're going to talk with our very own Dolphins insider. Does a kick-ass job on 3 yards per carry. Even though I think the show is on vacation. He's on vacation from the show, yet I still keep bothering him to come on this show because that's just who I am. Alfredo Arteaga, how are you, sir?
Fine. Yeah, if I'm on hiatus, but I'm on every show on 5R, including Pat Riley reaction shows, am I really on hiatus?
Oh, you did the reaction show as well?
No, but I was going to be on there, but I just, I got home like about 5 minutes ago.
Oh my goodness. Oh, I'm glad to have you, man. It's so okay. I'm not going to spend this whole show or my whole time with you talking about Watson because it's water under the bridge. But I did think it was interesting seeing what his lawyer said about the Dolphins' pursuit, which, I mean, Alf, it confirms reports that were coming out months ago that some people put all their stock into. Others were like, no way, that doesn't sound right. So I don't know. How does this make the Dolphins organization look in hindsight?
Well, there was a report in December from Mike Florio that said pretty much the same exact thing that is being said now. Right?
I think we know who his source is now.
Yeah, it's that Rusty Hardin guy, whatever his name is. But it makes me think two things. First of all, yeah, okay, that was I tended to believe that at the time. At the time, I felt as if it was one of those unreasonable requests that you make when you don't want to do something, and then all of a sudden somebody comes up with it, and then you're like, okay, does this mean that I actually have to go through with this? This makes me think it was actually possible. That it was actually much, much closer than a lot of people gave the situation credit for. And then the second thing it makes me think is these guys didn't think going forward, because since then there's been 2 more lawsuits and more details. So this thing is not ending anytime soon. It seems like the Dolphins were just treating the 22 cases as if they were just one giant isolated incident, and it really wasn't. I don't know. The NFL never ceases to amaze me, right? Especially Roger Goodell. I don't see how he plays football this year, right?
I don't see it either. Yeah.
I don't see how he plays football. And somebody on the OnlyFans chat was saying, yeah, but there's no criminal cases. There's no criminal court, but you understand there will be a civil court, which means that he's going to be involved with that for months. And we're going to be, who knows if it gets televised, and it's just a complete mess. Dolphins dodged a massive bullet by not trading for Deshaun Watson for 2 reasons. First of all, he would have cost a lot. Okay, it would have been those 2 whatever Cleveland gave up. Which what was it? It was 3 first-round picks and 2 second-round picks. Like Cleveland get up the house. Then it's going to cost you that contract, which is ridiculous. And then actually, I'll add a third thing. He's not going to play football. So you're not going to get him for a year.
And Tyreek Hill wouldn't be here, right? Like, there's no way. Like, he wouldn't.
Well,
he would. So we would have no Tyreek Hill, and we would have a quarterback who probably can't play for at least a year.
Yeah, and maybe you don't even get Teron Armstead, because Teron Armstead, is pricey in his first year. So yeah, it's just a weird thing.
Yeah, I mean, I think, and again, that's my biggest takeaway from all this. Like, I know that there are going to be some people who do not enjoy the first 12, 13 minutes of this episode, because I go back, to last year, very polarizing whenever we talked about Deshaun Watson. And then people are like, but we've moved past this and you're still talking about it. I also need to cover the news. And when these Hardin comments come out, I think we need to cover it. Here's something, and anybody who thinks I never say anything pro Tua, here's something for you. So Rich Eisen was doing a segment on his show. They do this segment called What's More Likely on the Rich Eisen show. He was asked a question talking about the future of the quarterback position with the Dolphins. Is it more likely that Tua Tagovailoa has 30 total touchdowns, or that Tom Brady will be the quarterback next year? And he said that's the one that's more likely. That Tua struggles and Brady is the quarterback in 2023, he says. I don't think Tua is going to combine for 30 touchdowns. That's a lot of touchdowns. And I know this offense can turn a lot into touchdowns, but he would have to go from 33 in his first 2 seasons, to 30 or more now. I don't know. The Brady thing, it's crazy to me. It wouldn't surprise me, Alf, if at some point Tom Brady ends up being a part owner of the Dolphins. I don't think he's ever actually going to suit up and play quarterback for the Dolphins. And also, people do need to understand, like, Tua's numbers should get better with a better offensive line, a better offensive scheme, and better talent around him. Even I think Tua's not getting quite enough credit.
No, and if you play 17 games, he'll get to 30 total touchdowns with ease.
Yeah.
If you think about it, he just had, 19 total touchdowns, and he played 11 games. So
that's right.
It's simple math, okay? So he'll get the 30 total touchdowns if he's healthy all season. But is there a possibility? Absolutely. Tua could get hurt, and they might just decide, okay, this is a guy that can't stay healthy, and then Brady becomes available. He lives down here, And yeah, you want to play your last season here with a loaded roster? Absolutely. Make one run at a Super Bowl and then really stick it to Belichick twice. Yeah, like I could see that happening. But more likely, I think, is that Tua plays all right. They have a decent season and they look forward to the next year and try to take advantage of this little window that they have with a rookie contract at quarterback to try to win a championship down here. Because it's been proven. Notwithstanding what happened last year.
Yeah.
It's been proven you can't spend too much money at the quarterback position and then expect to surround them with a lot of stuff to get you to a Super Bowl. So might as well take advantage of the circumstances as they are right now.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And then honestly, if things don't look like they're working out too well, then I'd probably look at the next couple of drafts more than I would look into, bringing in a veteran who's going to suck up your entire salary cap. But that's just me. All right. So coming out of, mini camps, OTAs, there's been a lot of activity down in Dolphin land. Any players you think, Alf, whether it be one of the newcomers or even a player who's been around the last couple of years, guys that you think could really pop in the 2022 season and who are going to be kind of sleepers that could blow off the page?
I think Cedric Wilson is going to play a lot, and he could have an extremely impactful 600 yards receiving. And you say that, and you're figuring, well, but Jalen Waddle and Tyreek Hill should have the bulk of the targets and the catches. Yeah, but Cedric Wilson could pick up a lot of pieces. Is there any scenario whatsoever where Cedric Wilson faces double coverage? No, right?
No.
So
That's
he should be. So he should be a safety blanket in a sense this year for Tua Tagovailoa, because he's going to face a lot of single coverage, and he should get some work deep as well. I know that a lot of people thinking Mike Gesicki's going to get a lot of run, but you got to play those two guys, right?
Yeah.
So Waddle and Tyreek Hill are going to play. How much 12 personnel are you going to play to have Mike Gesicki have enough chances to be a serious difference maker, right? I don't know. I think that this contract that they just gave David Njoku is probably pricing Mike Gesicki out of Miami.
I agree.
And I don't think this is a bad thing either. Okay, I could see Mike Gesicki having a mediocre season, but maybe a lot of touchdowns because he's going to get a lot of run in the red zone. So I don't know. I think that Cedric Wilson is a guy that you could see emerge as a really impactful player on this offense.
By the way, I want to talk a little bit of heat with Alfredo because we have some of the postseason comments from Pat Riley, but he has inspired me. I see him wearing that beautiful Prize Picks cap. Prize Picks is the official daily fantasy sports provider at the 5 Reasons Sports Network. And bros, just because our teams went home too early, like the Heat should still be playing basketball, the Panthers should still be playing hockey, the U should still be playing baseball. This shouldn't stop us for having fun watching these games and making money watching all these games, man. The NBA Finals going on, the Stanley Cup Conference Finals happening. Prize Picks is an awesome way to enhance your viewing experience. Sign up at prizepicks.com or the Prize Picks mobile app. This is daily fantasy that it combines my love for fantasy sports with my love for parlays. I'm a big parlay fan. You simply make selections of 2, 3, or 4 players and predict if they're going to go over or under their fantasy projections. It takes less than 60 seconds to make these selections. Like, unless you're like really slow with making up your mind on stuff, I make these selections sometimes in 20, 30 seconds. And you can go cross league and cross sport. You can take a couple of basketball players, a couple of hockey players, and make that your selection. And you can win big time multiples on your money, 10 times your money for getting 4 predictions correct, double your money getting 2 predictions correct. It's so much fun. It's so addicting. So sign up today at prizepicks.com, or even easier, sign up on the Prize Picks mobile app. And when you sign up, we have a hot tip for you. We have a deal for you. Use our code word 5. You spell it out, F-I-V-E. When you use our code word 5, they're going to double your deposit up to $100. If you deposit $100, you're going to have $200 in your account, and you're going to have a great time making these over-unders and making these selections, guys. Prize Picks has your hookup with our code 5, F-I-V-E, to match your first deposit up to 100%. Match it 100% up to $100, I should say. Prize Picks truly is Daily Fantasy Simplified.
And by the way, I'm also wearing the shirt, as you can see.
How are you getting all this merch? I need them to send me some stuff, Prize Picks. Come on, man. I guess I haven't won enough.
They sent me a box full of stuff. Look, like, check this out.
That is fantastic. Oh, look at that. Dude.
Is this nice or what?
Alfredo Arteaga. He's coming to us live from the Prize Picks studios.
Yeah, I got all Prize Picks. I'd show you my underwear too. It's also Prize Picks, but I'm not going to do that. A little tip: Jason Tatum. Do you know he's alternated points over and under going on 7 games?
No, I did not know that. So what does he do for now?
He has to go under
over?
game 3.
He's go under. Oh, okay.
Okay, so if we're gonna go to an 8-game streak, we go under Jason Tatum in game 3 for Prize Picks. Okay. So I don't know what that number's at. I could check it, but I'm pretty sure it's somewhere around 25.5, something like that. We could check that. You know what? That's a good thing to check.
Pull that up real quick, and while Alf is looking for that on the old prizepicks.com, I can remember when we spoke, like last week, we spoke later in the week, I think before game 1 of the finals, and Alf and I both for game 1, we had Golden State -4.
Well, this is a rough one.
Oh, what is it?
27.5.
So he's got to go under that.
Yeah, just take it under. Let's make it 8 games in a row, right?
Yeah, let's do it.
So some rough numbers in here, by the way.
Well, what else rough are we looking at?
Steph Curry, 28.5. Like, they're right on that number, right?
Yeah.
Al Horford at 10.5 points is also interesting because he's a guy who will disappear for a few games, but then just when you forget about him, he drops like 26.
It'd be a good time with the series going to Boston next. It'd be a good time for him to reappear.
Yeah, so it's a pretty good it's a pretty good slate. I would say look for those fringe players for Boston, play some overs there, especially in game 3. I would say.
Yeah. Well, that's good, man. People can check that out at prizepicks.com. And when we spoke late last week, I think we both were for game 1. We had both locked in Golden State -4. That obviously didn't go our way in game 1. I did, though, lock in Golden State -4 again for game 2.
Yeah, we did the
my money back.
The whole Lockeroony chase, right? And it worked, right?
It worked.
You know what I mean? Because I was thinking to myself, there's just no way Boston's going to go into Golden State and take 2. Yeah. Boston has to be pretty excited about what they accomplished in game 1. They let their guard down and they get smoked. That game didn't start the way we wanted it, though.
No.
But it was just like, it's the Lockeroony. The lock of the century was that game 2 chase. The problem is that we chased. So if you did what I did, I got back what I lost in game 1.
No, I specifically, because obviously when you're locking it in, there's going to be some vig, right? So it was like Golden State -4 at like -110. So I had to bet a little bit more so I would make back exactly what I lost the first time, right? So that I could be even Steven, right? Otherwise I would still be at a loss.
Yeah. That's how you end up with those statistics at the end of the year that say that you bet $3 or $4 million during the season, during the year, but you only made like $1,000.
Oh, I know, for sure.
Because it tends to go that way. Basketball's been rough. This has been a rough betting season. I usually do pretty well during the playoffs, and it's just been.
I don't know. I haven't done particularly well or particularly badly. Like the fact that I don't have an immediate reaction to it means I'm somewhere close to even Steven. So I'm not sure. It's been just, I don't know. It's been kind of a
we've had 2 unexpected game 7s, right? Dallas and Phoenix.
Oh, I had Phoenix in that game.
It was a lock, right? It was so much of a lock that I was like, okay, how many points can I lay to get the best possible return? And I ended up looking for 8.5. Right?
Wow. Yeah.
So imagine laying 8.5 and you lose by 35. And it's pretty much over in the first quarter. It was over in the first quarter. Okay, and then you had Miami-Boston game 7. A lot of people were asking me, how do you feel about this game 7? I was telling everybody the same thing. Well, usually when you win game 6 on the road, you come back home game 7, and it's a wrap. Yeah. Like you usually win by 30.
It was that was the weirdest series because the Heat really lost. They lost 3 of 4 at home. They won 2 of 3 on the road. It didn't make any sense.
Yeah, and Boston lost 2 of 3 at home. Like it was an odd series. It was really odd. Like basketball usually doesn't work that way. It really doesn't. There's usually one surprise road victory, and then the winning team in the series sweeps all the games at home. Usually that's usually how it works. Or if not, you just drop one. But now that was an odd series, really odd.
Let's look through some of the quotes from Pat Riley today. If I can share my screen here real quick, and I know obviously one of the big questions, and I think he addressed this. He was asked about it in multiple different ways about shopping for superstars, about whether he's going to run it back with the same roster, which a lot of people would be concerned about because, like, after the bubble run, they basically ran it back. They actually lost Jay Crowder from that run, and so like, Pat, don't run it back. We need to try to be getting better, hunting the whales or whatever. So yeah, I think he pretty much told us what we wanted to hear in that. And by the way, most of these quotes have been, as you can see, tweeted out by our man on the scene, Alex Toledo at Tropical Blanket, who was watching this today. I think we all realize that you can always use more, he said, especially when you've gone through the season and you've gotten the result. We're always going to try to improve the team, and that's what it's all about, continually growing. Let me read a couple more of these. Pat Riley on if they need another star level guy to compete. He says, no. If there's one out there, throw him at me. He says, we will look, we will explore. We always do this. He said the draft is somewhat of a crapshoot at 27. Yeah, I mean, listen, number 27. How much can you really expect where the Heat will be drafting this year? But yeah, so Alfredo, like the first part of that comment, if he's asked if they need another star level guy, obviously the immediate answer is the right one, no, because he doesn't want to like disrespect his current players. But then, he hedges in Pat Riley fashion, says, if there's one out there, throw him at me. So yeah, it sounds to me like Riley is going to do whatever he has to do. He and Andy Ellisberg with the cap gymnastics will do whatever they have to do to make this team better if the opportunity presents itself.
Yeah, I like his comments because first of all, he talked up his own players, and that's something that when you want to trade a guy, you never, you never slander the guy. Okay,
right.
That's what Philadelphia did to get to get Ben Simmons out of there. Like they basically told everybody, this guy's garbage. Okay, and somehow they got James Harden for him, but now you see what that is. It's actually an albatross to get James Harden.
Yeah.
So, I kind of like his comments because his comments kind of read with like, look, we really like Tyler Hero. We're not interested in just fire sailing him. Like he'll be gone for the right guy. So he's basically throwing out a wink out there. Like if you've got a disgruntled star, Donovan Mitchell, or maybe even a Bradley Beal, those are the right guys that they're willing to part with Tyler Hero for. But other than that, they're not looking to fire sale him.
Right.
If worse comes to worse, if it comes to a head, the guy that I think they probably have to move out of here is Duncan to try to get a useful piece. But other than that, I don't think that the team needs like wholesale changes. But I did like that he left it wide open for, if the right guy is out there. I also love his comments for Bam, that he had, and we had to get him to be a guy that shoots at least 15 times a game, no matter what. So yeah, I loved all his comments hit all the Heat Nation, the Heat culture erogenous zones. They really
By the way, huge thank you to Shake Money for the super chat. He says, any chance to get the quarterdeck to make a seafood dish called the Salty Tua? They'll make a fortune. I think it depends on like how this season works. Right? Actually, you know what? They could do it because Tua had the media. I think he's talking about the media session last week, Alfredo, where Tua was calling out the keyboard warriors and the Twitter warriors. Apparently, Tony Kornheiser hated that he thought that was like a terrible thing for Tua to say because he's putting a spotlight on himself too much. It's like, bro, like, he's the starting quarterback of one of 32 NFL franchises. Like you're always going to have a spotlight on you, right? I like Salty too. I'm happy the Tua is actually showing a little swag, Alfredo.
Yeah, and also like the dueling headlines, like the ones that say Tua comes out of his shell, and then one that follows it by saying Tua has to come out of his shell.
Yeah.
So it's either one or the other. As far as Tony Kornheiser's comments, like, first of all, I was surprised he was actually still alive and still doing that show.
I can't believe that show's still on. Like, pretty much, like, dude, like, First Take basically replaced that show in every way. Like, it's all of the viral clips come out of First Take. Like, have you ever in your life gone on to Twitter and you see people sharing like, oh my God, you will not believe what Tony Kornheiser said today on PTI. I've never in my life, like, I didn't even realize that show has been on since Twitter was invented. Whenever you see the big time quotes that get shared and go viral, it's always First Take, or even even Shannon and Skip get some of their clips out there. Colin Cowherd, like, it's never PT. I didn't even know that show was still on.
Can you imagine how good those shows, First Take and Undisputed, would be if their takes actually were like correct just every once in a while, and then they could point to those takes and say, "Look, we told you this." But then you have Skip out there saying that Jimmy Butler is quitting on the Heat. He goes on to average 41 points a game in the next two. That's a true story, by the way, people. He scored 47 and then he scored 35. Okay, my math says that's 41 a game. All right,
I'll trust your math because I can't do any math.
That's after Skip Bayless said that Jimmy was preparing to quit on the season and the Heat. So yeah, those guys. That's the new standard. Say something stupid and then it gets picked up everywhere, and then that's the narrative for the next 2-3 days. Now if I had to, as far as Tua haters, I don't think anybody even comes close to Skip Bayless now. Skip Bayless has found new territory, okay, to explore as far as hating Tua, because his latest one, I don't know if you've heard it, but it's going on a month now. He's asking Tyreek Hill to retire.
Yes.
That's a dedication to hating somebody that I don't think I'm even capable of.
Oh my gosh, that is and like, it's got to be a bit, right? Like, is there any sort of sincerity behind that?
They keep saying that he really means everything that he says. If he really means everything that he says, then he needs to be put in an asylum somewhere. Like, there's something wrong with him, because there's no way that he can hate LeBron and James as much as he does, and then have the takes that he has all the time, that are 180 degrees wrong. So
Color says, doesn't sound stupid to me. They're banking. So, I mean, I guess, like, because Alfredo's like sticking up for, like, you want the takes to actually be good, but like, does PTI even give you that? Because I just don't feel like they have any takes. Like, no one has ever shared viral video there's never been a viral video from PTI. It's never happened.
Tony Kornheiser wants to talk golf, and then you have Wilbon that wants to talk Chicago sports, anything that has to do with Chicago. So, what else is there, really? Once you get down to it, it's just so much. You could talk about the Bulls and Cubs, and then, the field of the U.S. Open, and, they're just getting older, and have they lost their fastball? Yeah. That fastball long gone. They're throwing spitballs and knuckleballs at this point.
Well, Alfredo Arteaga, he never loses his fastball. Even though I'm going to continue to pressure you to work on this show, even if you are taking much deserved time off from your own show. You can see where to follow that show on Twitter at 3 yards per carry. So what are people getting? Because we're getting a dynamic duo of Kai and Juan filling in this summer. What can people expect on 3 yards per carry?
Well, I don't know. You're going to have to ask Kai and Juan. I told them not to screw up our show. You only got a month to, I don't know how much damage they can do in a month, right? But I guess we'll assess the damage in July. But yeah, they're going to be doing their thing. Look for a new 3 yards per carry to drop on Wednesday with Kai and Juan and a special guest. They'll have a special guest every single week for the month. So look forward to that.
Are they going to invite you as a special guest on your own show?
No, I'll be listening afterwards, because I'm going to be the one who's going to upload it. So I'll upload the show and then I'll listen to it, and then if a show mysteriously disappears, it's that it was really, really bad and I didn't put it up.
Yeah, you'll tell them, it's like, guys, the file just vanished. I don't know what happened. These computers, you can't trust them.
Yeah, but look forward to them. They'll be dropping sometime Wednesday.
Well, yeah, make sure you guys check out 3 yards per carry. It is an excellent show, and make sure you follow Alf at Alf_Arteaga. Thank you so much for taking the time, man, and enjoy the rest of your week.
Thank you for having me.
Enjoy the time off. the time off where he's still on. Oh, man. So yeah, we talked a little bit about Prize Picks. Another way you guys can make money here during the finals in basketball and the conference finals in hockey, and then Stanley Cup finals are coming up in short order. guys, be using our official sports book here on Donno Daily, BetUS.com. It's America's favorite sports book. It is the 3-decade leader. They've had a service since before they had a website, going back to like the early 90s when they were established 30 years ago. BetUS.com has been paying out satisfied clients for over 30 years, guys. There is so much. You don't just have to bet the basketball games. The hockey games happen now. International soccer is going on. You can lock in your futures. NFL division winners, over-unders on wins, Dolphins at 8.5. You can bet in your college football futures, Miami Hurricanes over-under 8.5 wins. You can find that and more at betus.com. And what I love is live betting. I've been on a heater live betting Taiwanese basketball because every morning when I wake up, and then around 7:30, I log into betus.com and there's like a Taiwanese basketball game that's headed into the third quarter. I will live bet not knowing anything about either of the teams, and I've won more than I lost. You can bet games in progress at betus.com. It is a revolutionary service, guys. So you want to sign up today at betus.com. The mobile phone version of the site works great as well. And log in with our special code 5RSN125. That's 5RSN125, where they give you a 125% sign-up bonus. You can more than double your money in free play money on your first deposit. 5RSN125. Make sure you use that code, otherwise you're missing out on a bonus, and we miss out on a referral. So when you sign up, make sure you use our code 5RSN125. They also have a full casino right there. About an hour and a half ago, I was playing blackjack on betus.com. Only $1 per hand. I wasn't going too crazy. If you're a high roller, you can bet a lot more than that, but minimum $1 blackjack. It's so much fun. Win real money. You bet, you win, you get paid. BetUS.com. I want to throw out some shout outs. I've been neglecting the shout outs a little bit in recent shows because a lot of times I've gone really long with our amazing guests, and I've neglected some of the shout outs. I will always shout out super chats though. Devin Jordan, thank you so much for the donation. Donno, I'm so glad Riley said Tyler has to earn the starting job in the press conference. Pat Riley is still the man, the myth, the legend. I love what he said about Tyler. Love what he said about Bam. I love what he said about possibility of pursuing other superstars. If they're out there, throw them at me. Throw them at me, Pat said, while also not, taking a dump on the current roster or anything like that, respecting the current roster, but keeping in mind they're always looking to upgrade when upgrades present themselves. So yeah, Devin, thank you so much for the super chat. Doug E. Fresh, thank you for tuning in. We can have Skechers sponsored by Centrum Silver. It's a wrap. If the elderly are watching this, if we have elderly watching this show, I would be fine advertising reverse mortgages, adult diapers. The elderly seem to be really into buying gold. I'll talk about that. Forget about crypto right now, folks, which I am into. I will talk about investing in gold. I will talk about reverse mortgages, everything that the elderly is into. I will advertise for them. Centrum Silver. I will advertise those as well. Alex M., thank you so much for tuning in. Shake Money, who also left us a super chat. I'll get to that in a little bit. Isn't Kai a Gators fan? Sounds like a smart guy. That sounds right. I think he is a Gators fan. I know he's not a Hurricanes fan, Kai Chen Chisholm. So I'm not positive, but I know Shake. I know you're really into those Gators fans. So maybe he is one of you. Indeed, thank you for tuning in. Deshaun Watson likes getting Rusty Hardins with his massages. Rusty, I mean, he was doing an interview last week where he was like, happy endings, not necessarily illegal. I was like, okay, seems like a weird thing to talk about on terrestrial radio, and it maybe sounds like something you have some expertise on. I don't know. It was a weird place for that interview to go. Color Commentary, thank you so much for tuning in. Color is always a great supporter of this show. Tony 2 times is an awesome supporter. He says, this is why I only consume local sports media. The national guys drive me crazy because it's sensationalism to the max. Can't stand it. I just know sensationalism, yes, for sure. Everyone's trying to get clicks and retweets and stuff. Unfortunately, that's just the way the algorithms work. Like, that's the way you get paid in 2022 is clicks, impressions. That's what gets sports media companies money. Just I know that doing national shows, it's tough because anytime you talk incorrectly about someone's team that they follow more closely than you do, because you're trying to follow every team to do a national show, if you get anything wrong, the local fans of that team will be all over you for it, because like, this guy doesn't know crap about my team. Like, what are they talking? And it's true a lot of the times, because if you're talking about these national shows, they're trying to keep up with 32 NFL teams, 30 NBA teams, dozens, if not hundreds of college teams. Like, it's not easy to know a good amount about every team out there to talk like you actually know something. So you're going to get stuff wrong all the time. But then if they get something wrong about the team I follow, then I have to start to wonder, how much else are they getting wrong? Right? If they're talking about, the ins and outs of the Boston Celtics or something, why would I assume if they get everything wrong about the Heat, how do I know they're right about these other teams? So it's good. Even I find that if you want to know something going on with a team, even that you don't follow, better to get it from the local guys from that market. Right? If you want to know something about the Boston Celtics, dive into what the Boston media is talking about. If you want to know about the USC Trojans, look at what their local media in LA is talking about. It's better to get that from other local guys sometimes than it is from the national guys, because that's just a hard job, right? I mean, I primarily cover just the South Florida teams, and that's hard enough. I only have, 5 or 6 teams to worry about and think about on a daily basis. It's not easy. So to try and have like 100 teams to think about on a daily basis, I can't even imagine. Shake Money, thank you so much. Gave us a nice super chat. Cannot thank you enough for that. The super chat is always open, guys. Not mandatory, but if you want to leave us a little something in the tip jar, we do appreciate it. Q, best show by far, by the way. Enjoyed every bit of it. I don't know. I feel like he can't be talking about our show. I don't know what show he's talking about. He may be talking about Stranger Things or something. I'm sure that show is awesome. Let's see. Who else? Want to make sure I shout out everybody in here. Brooklyn Rob, hello. Do not sleep on Noah Igbenogany, he says. I would love for Igbo to become something. Right? After drafting him in the first round, first couple of years, he's been bad, terrible. I would love for Noah to become something now. And you can't even really say with a new coaching regime, because most of the defensive coaches are the same. But you got Sam Madison and Pat Surtain on the staff now. So maybe 2 of the all-time greats to put on the Dolphin uniform can bring out that in a guy who plays their position. Indeed, thank you so much. Vaughn954, thank you. Thank you, Vaughn, for tuning in. Happy to see you in here. Raul, thank you. He seems very enthusiastic to see me. By the way, do you guys notice a positive quality difference in my video? Because I did get a more expensive webcam. Like, I was using like a $40 webcam. I've upgraded to a $180 webcam, which is supposedly 4K. The problem is, I don't think the service we use to live stream supports 4K. I think in order for you guys to actually see the 4K, I would have to just record this and then post it like pre-taped. I don't think I can do a live in 4K. I might be wrong. It might just be like some button I have to press that I haven't figured out yet. But do you notice, or do you not care, right? Maybe who cares, like video, whatever. But do you notice a positive quality change? Because I'd like to think spending $140 extra on this webcam compared to the one that I had before, I'd like to think that makes some kind of a positive difference. So let me know if you notice a positive difference in the video quality, because I did. We did invest in ourselves here when it comes to bringing that quality a little bit higher. Mario Krista Goat, thank you so much. Yeah, he's talking about Dolphins ownership pursuing Watson. He says, I thought this was common knowledge. It depends on who you talk to, because some people just denied it. Some people said, no. Ownership didn't want it. It was only Flores and Flores only. And Mike Florio was the one to report months ago the Dolphins ownership was pushing for this. And a lot of Dolphin fans just said, I don't believe anything Florio says. And now that Rusty Hardin is saying it, it's been corroborated. So I think that's the difference here. Oh, how about this? Crystal clear. No more using Hunter Biden's webcam. Well, so this is the it's a good brand, but this is the webcam that I used to use. It's some kind of a Logitech, which is a good brand. If anyone is if anyone is looking for a webcam, I think Logitech is a really good brand to use. And no, they don't pay me to say this. If they want to come on as a sponsor, I'd welcome them. But I had like a cheaper, this is HD, the one that I used to use, but it was like a cheaper version. They've got like 30 different webcams that they make. I got one of the best. I got the Logitech Brio, which is like, I don't know, if this is like the Toyota Prius of webcams, I've got like the Tesla Model S of webcams now. So we stepped our way up a little bit. So thank you so much. Yes, color. He knows. It's a Brio. He knows it's a Brio. He typed that before I even said it. Actually, I would do this. Donate your old cam and ring light. Well, I still use the same ring light actually, because I did have like a year ago. I had a very old ring light that it died, but I do not have an extra ring light to donate. But I would donate my my old school Logitech to Big John Stud. I would do that. Although his issues seem more of the audio spectrum than the video. Better lately. He had a much better connection the last time that he joined us. There you go. So he knows. Color knows about the Brio. Logitech Brio. Crystal clear. If I ever make like a pre-tape video, you'll see you'll be able to see like every individual hair on my beard. It'll be fantastic. I don't know why anyone would want to see that. There you go. Kane's 1989 notices the difference. All right, we'll end it on that note. I think did I shout out Perfect Q? Perfect Q, thank you so much. How is it taking the word of a lawyer backing up a media member trustworthy confirmation? Well, I don't know if I use the word trustworthy, maybe I shouldn't have used the word trustworthy. It's corroboration. So like you're hearing it from another person in addition to Florio, but it does make me think now that Florio's source might have been Hardin all along, that it could actually be the same information, right? Because Hardin may have told the exact same thing to Florio back in December, and Florio reported it with Hardin as his unnamed source. And now Hardin, who maybe was the unnamed source all along, is saying it. So it might actually be the same info. Yeah, it does make plausible sense. And yeah, my cheekbones are more pronounced. That might just be all the weight that I've lost too. Because like when I was, I'm at 190 now. I used to be at 247 when I was you don't really have cheekbones when you're 247. Like you just kind of like your face is. I don't think my face was like that fat, but it was like, did Jabba the Hutt have cheekbones? I don't know. How do I know? You couldn't see him. It's way too heavy. The Hutt species may not have cheekbones, or he might have some really rugged cheekbones, but how would anyone know when the skin was like? So I don't have that. I was more Huttian with my face before. I no longer have that issue. So yeah, my cheekbones are more defined. All right, we'll talk to you guys again tomorrow on another episode of Donno Daily on the 5 Reasons Sports Network. See ya.